Well, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. If you're new to this channel, you know we do all kinds of guitar stuff. And today, I figured I would do something a little different. We're just going live. You're just on my phone, super lo-fi, and we're gonna wind a couple of humbucker coils. I've actually started on this one already, and I've done a couple already here. Uh, just so you know, if you're new to this channel, you know that we do like 5 or 10 minute videos all about guitar stuff. This one's going to be a little different. People think that winding coils is this really cool thing, but it's actually kind of boring. So I'm going to warn you right now. I'm going to do this and I'm going to share it with you, but don't get in the comments and be like, this is the dumb video, this is all boring, because I warned you ahead of time. Making videos or making coils is kind of a boring deal. Um, Let me see here really quick. I wanted to bring up our comment thread. I don't know why, for some reason, this is not working lately. I don't really know why. The live control room. I'm not really sure why we can't really see comments and stuff like we used to be able to see. I don't understand what the scoop is. So I'm going to do my best to keep up with your comments and stuff, and throw them in the comments below if you have any questions about it. Um, I don't know why this isn't working. Um, Give me 1 second before we get going here. We're not restricted. Okay. Well, it says I'm live, but I'm trying to figure out where oh, here we go. So here's the comments. All right. So anyway, that's that. Well, we're gonna go ahead and start winding this pickup. So we have a bobbin on the wire on the machine. I've got some 42 gauge wire here that we're winding one of our center punch pickups, and this is it. This is what we do. Yeah, I am live. Like I said, the way that stream thing, they changed the stream interface, and so it just made it look weird, and I had to figure out where to go. So that's it, man. This is all we do. Now everything I do is 100% hand controlled. We don't have a machine for this. So when we say hand wind to pick up, obviously it's a motor that's spinning the thing for me. But all of the tension, I mean, I could screw this up right now. Like if I pinch down too hard with my thumb, if I yank on this, if I move a little bit too erratically, then you're breaking wire. And this is the thick wire. I actually was using 43 earlier, which is thinner. So this is 42 gauge. So for your wire gauges, for those of you that are not familiar, the higher the number, the thinner the wire. So, and we're gonna wind this bobbin up, and then we'll wind another one up. And by that time, you will be sufficiently bored of pickup winding, and it will probably be long enough. But I don't normally do this kind of stuff, so I figured I would do it. And that's it. Like I said, it's not super eventful. Just have a 12-volt motor with an Arduino controller in here that controls my counts. In between bobbins, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Super simple machine. I prefer single build poly wire. People like to make a big deal about what kind of wire sounds a certain way, but truth is, it just doesn't really matter that much. The thickness of the wire matters, the thickness of the insulation matters, but the type of insulation typically doesn't And there's a few cases where it kind of can, but I could make two pickups with the same wire and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them. Or two pickups with the same gauge and thickness but different materials of insulation, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. People think they can, but eh. They make up stuff in their head. That's what guitar playing's all about. So I will put the prescribed amount of wines on here. And then you'll get to see me start another bobbin here in a minute too. Because I kind of started. When you're starting live on YouTube doing stuff, you want to like make sure it's going to work first. You hate to have like a fail live on YouTube, but you know, kind of is what it is. All right, so we have to solder this tiny wire to the wire that hooks up internally to the pickups. You prefer the poly wire as well? Yeah, you know, it's just easier to work with, and I'm sure if you wind pickups for a living, you've found that it's just not a big deal. You know, it used to be, right? So we could talk about that for a second. It used to be a big deal. Like the pickup wire used to be a big deal. Differences in materials, and this goes with anything in a guitar, really. You know, paint finishes, pickup wire materials, all that sort of stuff used to be a huge deal. But as technology gets better, the differences between technologies gets tighter, right? So, like for instance, I'll give you an example, and this is not in the same kind of discussion, but it sort of is. For instance, when we used to get rechargeable batteries, right? And rechargeable batteries were cool because you could recharge them, but they never lasted as long as an alkaline battery. Well, now battery technology has changed, and actually, some rechargeable batteries last longer than alkaline batteries. So, you know, as technology moves and progresses, and things change, what used to at one time make a big difference, and people would have all these talking points about what made a difference in a guitar build. It's just not that much. So, and the wire that we use is one of those things. Paint finishes, for instance, is another. Everybody used to think that, yeah, come on. Everybody used to think that, a particular paint finish was going to kill tone on a guitar or whatever. Well, that's 1985, when the EPA was reformulating VOCs and the regulations surrounding that, which is basically the amount of solids that are in a paint. Then polyurethane was not good at that time. It was very heavy and very thick. And when you put it on a car incorrectly, it fell off. Remember those white Chevy trucks where all the paint just kind of fell off? It's because they were trying to figure all that stuff out. Well, now they've got it figured out. And now you can have a paint finish that is just as thin, or in some cases thinner, depending on how you apply the finish, as a lacquer finish, and it does just fine. So technology definitely changes the gaps of what we once knew. It's hard to get that through some people's heads sometimes, though, in guitar land, Sometimes it's hard to figure that stuff out. Because people get super wrapped up in the tradition of what they thought was once awesome, which, everybody does that with everything. But anyway, a little tangential there, but it does relate to how these things are made. because, you know, I use ABS bobbins most of the time. I use poly wire most of the time, but these pickups sound amazing when they're done. And I can't keep them on the shelf, so must be doing something right. In case you're wondering what I do the rest of the time when I'm not making YouTube videos, I'm doing this stuff and I'm dealing with customer service situations in, where are we talking about today? Brazil? Let's see, we got excellent. Shipped some stuff to Brazil. We have a really good customer in Brazil that buys pickup parts from us. So one of the things that I sell is we sell pickups, obviously. We make pickups here. But we also stock the wire that you use to make the pickups. And so I have a really good customer in Brazil that buys pickups from me. All right. So I'm real simple, man. The bigger guys have big machines that do this stuff, and they'll strip like 800 wires at a time and all this stuff, but we're pretty exclusive. So we build everything by hand. I don't really have jigs for anything. Everything is done one at a time. I mean, batches of pickups, obviously. We'll, you know, build 10 today or something, but you know, whatever we need to fill orders with, and we do it in batches. But everything is by hand. It's literally a bench in my garage. I'd get some bad press for that sometimes. People will be like, "You're just a guy in your garage." I'm like, "Yeah, but guess what? I can make more money than you in a day with no pants on." No pants is the best thing. You don't even know if I'm wearing pants right now. I mean, really, right? Wanted to thank you for the hours of videos and work that you put in. Dude, thanks so much, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. You know, it's a tough thing, this YouTube game, because you'll get people that, no matter what you do, want to talk crap on your stuff, you know. But I really appreciate that very much. I kind of don't do it for the viewers, though. Obviously, otherwise we would have like a million. But I mean, I don't mean I don't do it for the viewers. I don't do it for like subscriber numbers. You know what I mean? This is all just because I love to do this stuff and I love it. I actually, it's funny, and I guess this is why I've been doing some of these live videos lately, is to kind of let people in on it. I love guitar stuff, and I love the fact that I can do this and share it with people, and you know, me and my wife can live with guitar stuff, you know, like and be okay. But my real love is motorcycles. Guitars are cool, but motorcycles are where it's at. And actually, you know, it's really funny. I don't even have one right now, which is kind of hilarious. So, you know. You know, it's funny you mentioned Americans. I actually, over 50% of my viewership is not even in this country. So, I don't really get involved in political conversations or anything because it's really irrelevant to what we do. And sometimes we'll talk about like import export stuff, you know, because I run a global economy. My wife and I's business is global, so we don't really care where our money comes from. Well, I mean, as long as it's legal, obviously, and not made by ill-gotten gain, of course, but as far as what country it comes from and stuff. And I'm not a real I don't get political when it gets to where my parts come from and stuff. As long as they're good and they're timely, that's the most important thing. Um, all I care is that the stuff is on time, that it gets here, and then when it gets here, that it's very good quality, and that the customer service from the people that I deal with, where I get my parts, is solid. Those are the things that really, really matter to me. Where it's made is less relevant to me. Everybody's got to eat, and of course, you try to support small business as much as possible because I am a small business. Of course, we try to do that, which makes a big difference. You want to support small business as best you can, but there again, scalability is a situation that I have to deal with all the time because um, we ship so much stuff overseas, and we ship a lot to South America. Actually, I was just talking to a customer in Brazil. We ship tons of stuff overseas, so the stuff has to be ready and here when I ask it to be. It's a tough deal. So we try to stay relatively not political and out of those conversations as much as possible. You're a hardworking man. What is my main business? You're looking at it, buddy. You are looking at it. This keeps me eating right here. I've owned 9 or 10 businesses over the last 20 years. Um, Started working for myself when I was 17, and in 2009 or 2007, actually, I got in a really bad motorcycle accident because I was designing parts for. I was a mechanical engineer designing parts. I got in a really bad motorbike wreck, just on a recreational ride on a Friday night kind of deal. Broke my back in 4 places, and I retired a year later. Sold that business and retired and stuff. Um, and so this really is all I do. And I cannot do, I can't do stuff. I can only do things for 20, 30 minutes at a time. So like my back's killing me right now. I'll wind a few pickups, and then I'll go work on a video, and then I'll go, you know, take a nap. Um, I am very, very busy because I can't do anything at all at once. I can't work an 8-hour day. There's no way. Um, but this is my main deal, man. I mean, I'm retired, but this is my main deal. This is how we keep the lights on. So it's pretty sweet. I enjoy it very much. I'm excited over the next few months. We're going to start producing a lot more content having to do with actual music production and helping people actually make music instead of just be nerds, um, because it's just an interest of mine. I'm actually building a gnarly fast computer for video editing, which is really exciting. The parts start coming in today, so we'll probably do some videos about that. I know it doesn't seem good guitar related, but it actually very much is in my world, because everything kind of goes together these days, Again, it's technology. It's changing. It's changing the game. On my Patreon, I'm going to talk today. I'm going to go shoot. I do the weekly podcast on my Patreon. That's just for Patreon viewers. So you might want to check it out because we do a lot more opinion-based stuff over there. I don't do a whole lot of that stuff here, but the topic this week is going to be talking about kind of how the business has changed, music industry has changed, and um, what the home studio is doing and that sort of thing. So just gonna help myself flesh out some ideas for some videos. Really super fun, but that's what we do over there. All right. Check my values. All right, we're good. Okay, so we have wound. I wasn't gonna keep you all day and make you bored with this whole thing the entire day, but we've got two screw slugs or two screw coils and two slug coils, and we're using two, obviously, because it's two humbuckers. Sandcast Alnico magnets, fives. These are five. Actually, I take that back. The five is going in the neck pickup, and we're putting a ceramic in the bridge pickup. One of these is a center punch, and one of these is an 8-ball from our website. So if you go to, I don't know if you guys know this, like a lot of people don't for some reason. You can go buy all this stuff. So I'll throw the website in the comments here. You can go buy the pickups that I'm that I'm making right now, base plate, spacers, etc. So now I'm going to go ahead and assemble this stuff. Do you think the proliferation of the home studio is why the music industry is trying to go after YouTubers? They're losing market share. I do. Well, I think that's an interesting one, man. I think that. Thank you for bringing this up because I'm going to put this in my podcast today. Here's the thing. If you do original material and you put it on YouTube, it is not copyright strike. The only time you get copyright strikes is when you play covers of stuff. Do I think that the home studio is directly involved with it? No, not really. I think that the music industry is suffering as a whole. So they're trying to get royalties from every direction they can. And so being able to shut small creators down for that, which I think is a shame. I think that they're shooting themselves in the foot because if you have a kid, and again, you'll hear me say this over and over, if you have a kid that wants to play guitar and you hand him a guitar and you tell him, but you can only play Led Zeppelin songs or whatever, you're shooting yourself in the foot. If the kid wants to learn the new Justin Bieber song, if he wants to learn a new rap or hip hop song, but he wants to play it on guitar, let him, because he's trying to be creative. He's trying to use what he knows to make music. That's what music is for. So I think that the music industry is going to shoot themselves in the foot because the whole point about social media, especially for an artist, if you're an artist on social media, the idea is that you're supposed to build community. When you build community around yourself on social media, you are successful. That's how it works. My wife and I have a consulting business that teach people how to do this. It's how it works. You build community around yourself. Well, if you are not allowed to build that community because your fans cannot share what they love about you, which is your music, you're shooting yourself in the foot, and you can no longer build community based on that. I think that's ridiculous. I think that it's a stupid thing, and I think the music industry needs to get over themselves. And I also think that's just one of the things, man. I mean, there's so many things with it, but I have a lot of friends that make a good living not in the normal music industry mold, including myself. I don't do the normal thing. We do not have dealers. We don't have any of that stuff, and we do great. And It's because of the community, like this right here. It's because of this. It's because we make friends all over the world with YouTube. We make friends all over the world with our all of our social media outlets. You know, um, yeah. And so you're exactly right. YouTubers are easy targets because most of them do covers to get started. Now, here's the interesting thing is so we made some humbucker coils here earlier. If you're late to the party, you can go back and watch the replay of this, and you'll be able to see these coils being made. Um, in fact, I might as well just keep going, and we'll do these other parts of it. Hang on. Let's see. Let's go ahead and construct these things. How about that? Get all the stuff, and we'll just keep talking, and we'll keep making humbuckers. How about that? Instead of let you guys go, because this is really good conversation. You know, the whole reason we do what we do is to build community around what we do, right? I mean, that's it. Um, in the old days, you would put flyers on cars, and you still have to do that, right? You still have to put flyers on cars, and oh, those are the wrong ones. And promote yourself. But the way we do it in 2019 is this right here. We have a conversation with our friends all around the world on YouTube, and it is the way you do business. No, those are the wrong ones. Son of a biscuit. These are the right ones. This is the way you do business. Do you have an outlet in Canada? No, we ship directly to Canada. We ship to many, many countries, including Canada. They're also making claims on original content they think sounds like other artists' stuff. Yeah, man. And see, that's the thing. It's not cool. That part is not cool. I don't know why. I got like a mixed bag of parts here that wasn't supposed to be together. This is the downside of doing things by hand. Sometimes there are inconsistencies that you have to work out to make sure that your product is 100% consistent. And sometimes it is a pain. So, all right. I'm going to put a dab of glue on these because I can, actually. Yeah, I think the whole thing is a crock of crap, and it is one of the reasons why we don't do demos on our channel. It is one of the big reasons. The other reason is because people are never happy when you do demos, so I don't do them. I get it all the time, like, you should do this demo, or you didn't demo this product right, or how come you didn't compare this string to this string? I'm like, because I play different than you, and if I were to play it different than you and you were not happy with how I played it or I compared it, then you'd complain about that too. So we just don't do it at all. Kind of everything we do on our channel is to basically encourage you to go try it yourself. That's where I'm at. I'm like, I like just totally preach you need to go try this stuff, man. And it's also why I'm sitting here making a pickup on YouTube. Like, here, let me move this camera too so you can see better. This is why I'm making a pickup on YouTube. I don't care if you go and learn this stuff. It ain't gonna put me out of business or anything. I mean, I'm happy that you learn a pastime that most people never. That's the thing. You can teach everybody anything you want. It doesn't mean they're gonna actually go and do it. So, it doesn't hurt me in the least. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, let's throw some screws in the screw sides of these bottoms. I was like, well, we're sitting here talking and people are still chilling and having fun. So, and we're interacting a bit. So let's go ahead and keep making parts. Throw some light on this situation. Basically what I do is I just kind of get them started like so. Actually, I usually. And then I'll turn them sideways. I'll show you in a minute. And the worst thing that happens is you get them close, and then the screwdriver slips off, and you gouge the plastic, and the bobbin is ruined, and then you have to redo it. That has happened to me in the past. This set of pickups is getting a custom set of covers that I'm also making from scratch, so it's less concerning here, but man, I've had it happen. It does not make your day. Let me get these last two screws started, and then I will get caught up on your comments. All right, let's see. Have you ever experimented? Yes, Australia, we go all over the place, man. We send a lot of stuff to Australia. Lots of stuff. Probably once a week, twice a week, we're shipping to Australia. Let's see. I'm making a CBG. Winding is in my future. Highly appreciate you sharing techniques. Oh, thanks, man. So winding numbers is something that I try to keep to myself a little bit. We do have some stuff that we published, but I typically don't. I typically don't share my winding specifics. I will tell you about this pickup in a minute as soon as I get caught up. Have you ever experimented with a noiseless system like Sir does? I have not. Dummy coils, I have experimented. Well, that's incorrect. I have experimented with them. I don't like them. I think they're kind of gimmick, and I'm just not into them. As far as the specifics of this wind, maybe I can turn this so you guys can see a little bit better. I will tell you one thing, is our center punch pickup that we use is our center punch pickup that we use is 43 gauge on one and 42 gauge on the other, so that when you split it, it doesn't volume drop. Yeah, I could put painter's tape on here too. It doesn't, that to me that wouldn't protect the bobbin because I would still gouge it. And Mr. Singer guitar pickups will tell you those screws are wicked hot when they come through here. Like if you touch these screws on the other side, they are so hot. I've many times like had like threads burned into the fingertips of my fingers. They're so hot. It's crazy. Just that little bit of friction going through that plastic will heat them screws up, man. course, I don't run them all the way down and hit the top. All right. Successful with no nicks and scratches. Thank you, Mr. ST. I appreciate your patronage of our channel. That is awesome. All right, so then these keeper bars go on here. When you buy the nice ones and not the cheap ones made in China, they slide right on. Like that. The junky ones don't. I've had them not line up and be bent and all kinds of stuff. So you got to get good parts. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get the slugs out of the way, get the screws out of the way. I guess I need to go get my humbucker retention screws. I don't like leaving the desk when I'm doing a live, but all right. So then the wire goes through here. Your DAF humbuckers, are they your closest to a 59 PAF? Yes, and they are really, really good. Those actually got, they made the whole Premier Guitar Top 10 thing in 2016, 2017. Really good stuff. One second, I'm grabbing some stuff. Grabbing the other parts bin out of the thing. Like I said, we do everything by hand. Okay, so this is the bridge pickup. So this will be here, and we're going to use a where is it? Oh, it's sitting right here already. We need to check the polarity on these. Oh, they're marked. Okay, so we do screw side south. And then we use these little brass screws to attach the bobbin to the base plate with the magnet sandwiched in there. Like so. Now let's get into the exciting part. Not really, but you'll see it'll look sort of like a humbucker now. And then we grab one of these. I'll put this on the other side. With our little keeper bar that goes in here. See there again, I use plastic instead of maple, which is stupid. Why use a maple spacer and spend 4 times as much for something that does not matter at all? It's hilarious. But I'd like to know it's in there because it's vintage correct. Okay. Well, I don't do that, so. You're gonna have to go get that somewhere else because we don't use that junk. Well, can you use it just for mine? Nope. Because I'm not a snake oil salesman. If it doesn't make a difference, I don't do it. Period. All right, so that basically looks like a pickup. Pretty sweet. Do you asymmetrically wind your humbucker? I do. Yes and no. It depends on the pickups. I mean, we make like 4 different pickups, 4 different humbuckers. And yes, we do on some of them. On this one is a little different story. Like I said, this one's a little proprietary, so I don't talk about it. But the idea behind this pickup, this set of pickups, both of our 8-ball and our center punch pickup, is that you can coil split it and it does not drop volume. So the way I have this wound is this slug side over here stays on when you coil split it. And it gives you a really, really nice stratty kind of sound. Or if you put it in the bridge pickup, it sounds kind of like a telly. Really, really nice setup. Works really well. It doesn't volume drop, and we don't have to do any goofy like capacitors or junk. But that's all about whine count and whine proportion and wire gauge and all that kind of stuff. And that's been a lot of work to figure that out. So we don't publicize the numbers for this one. The DAF, I will tell you, the DAF pickup is asymmetrically wound by about 200 turns. That whole asymmetrically wound thing is they couldn't count those PAFs. You know, they didn't have counters. So the DAFs we use are the DAFs we make are really close to the 59 PAF style pickup, and those I'll just tell you those are 5100 turns of 42, which is this wire right here. Sometimes we use purple, sometimes we use gold. Again, it doesn't really matter. Just depends on the pickup. And then also we use different wire colors because you can wind on clear bobbins. So you've probably seen these on my website. We actually wind pickups on clear bobbins so you can see the wire inside, which is really cool. We could do that with any of our pickups. We can make them clear, we can make them zebra, we can make them black. You know, the thing about that, and that's an interesting thing, is none of that matters. Like, everybody wants to say, well, does this cover, does that? Like, none of it matters as long as you put the thought into doing it right. Like, for instance, people will say that make a different cover makes a difference to the tone. It does, but it can. I'll say it can. It doesn't always. It can make a difference to the tone. Yeah. But if you tell me what you want and you say, well, I want this cover, but I want it to sound like this, and I don't want it to affect it too much, let me know. And I will make sure that we do what we need to do so that the end result is correct. That's the thing. Any of this stuff can be compensated for to a point, but mostly, you know. And I think a lot of people lose that. Everybody thinks that there's some sort of magic formula, and if you don't stick exactly to that, then the pickup's not going to sound good, which is absolutely untrue. The fun part about it is really depending on the layout of everything. All right, so this is the neck pickup. So just making sure I get this laid out right. Like when you're thinking about how it's going to sit in the guitar. Yeah, people think that there's this magic formula, and if you stray from it, that it doesn't work, and it's just not true. And I wish people would get over that stuff, because it would make guitar playing a lot more fun, and would actually make building stuff a lot more fun, because when you go at this with a blank sheet of paper, besides just, well, it's got to fit in there, right? So we've got a humbucker, so we're kind of stuck with that hole in the guitar, right? Because your guitar has a hole in it and it fits a humbucker, or it fits a single coil, or it fits a P90 or whatever. But within that, the sky's the limit. Like, you can play around with stuff and it's not going to sound bad. It might sound different than 1959, whatever, but who cares? We're not in 1959. And I'm a guy that says, if you want me to do something, let's do it. Like, if it's on the shelf, like if you want to sound like Slash, just go buy his pickup. I will not be offended if you do not buy a pickup from me because you want to sound like Slash. And I'm going to tell you, go buy Slash's pickup. It's easier, really. And your expectation is already a certain thing of what you think it should sound like, or, whatever. So just go do that. And I will tell you that I will not be offended. Absolutely. But if you tell me, hey, I'm building a guitar, and I've got this thing, and I've always had this idea, and I want it to look a certain way, and I want it to blah, 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 then I'm your guy. Because now, that being said, the center punch and the 8-ball that I'm making right now, have made a new standard in pickups that you can split. And in the 8-ball, especially in a pickup that you can use in a higher gain situation that does not get super muddy. I'm really, really proud of that. That pickup's really good. And I will tell you, we make the best P90 in the world. Don't brag about much. I brag about two things: my P90 and our guitar cables. They're the best. Absolutely, period, bar none, they're the best. All right. We, together today, have constructed two humbuckers. Now I got to solder it all up. That's really boring to watch, actually. And I have to figure out this cover because I'm making a custom cover for it. I will post a picture on the YouTube timeline of these pickups when they're done because I'm making a special cover for these. That's really, really pretty. I think this guy's really going to like them. This is going to Indianapolis, Indiana, I think, this set. So, trying to get these shipped out tomorrow. And then I got to make a pile of cables. We got to make a bunch of 25-foot cables for a deal, and then we've got to make a bunch of adapter custom cables, like 16 of them, I think. And we got to do a bunch of other stuff. So it's gonna be a busy day. But thanks for hanging out with me for a little bit. For your DAFs, do you recommend an Alnico 3 in the neck and a 5 in the bridge? I personally like 5s. I think, let's get caught up on some comments before I let you go. I think, first of all, no, I don't believe in tone paint. I don't believe in any of that crap. Second, for your DAFs, do you recommend an Alnico 3 or 5? Keep them the same. 5s are not necessarily hotter. They compress differently. 3s give you a little mushier sound, in my opinion. I think the 5s are a little tighter, if that makes sense. The Alnico 5s are a little tighter. The clarity is a little bit better. I'm a fan of the 5. That's what I love to do, is Alnico 5s in those pickups. I was just curious about the benefit, if any, to scatter wound pickups. I heard a guy talking about it. Okay, so scatter winding is, it's a bit of a misnomer. So let's just take this, we'll pretend this is a pickup, right? Like this is a big pickup. A machine put wire on this roll. So if you look at this roll, you'll see that the rows are really, really, really straight. Now see that strand that's kind of like going across there? That's what you would call a scatter because it just goes out of order with everything else. When I'm winding a pickup, so scatter winding versus not, in the old days, again, this is technology changing. In the old days, scatter winding was where they took the machine. So this is my little machine. And see this right here? This is called the traverse. And so you've got this spinning and the wire is coming across here and you've got this traverse right here and you're going back and forth. Now on a machine, you can control that to where it's like 150 winds per layer or how, whatever, you just pick any number right now for the conversation. So 150 winds per layer as it goes across, and then it starts coming back 150 winds back, and then it goes across. That's a machine wound, super straight wind. Everything's wound. Well, when you're hand winding a pickup with just my hand, there's no way for me to count 100% for sure that that wind count is, I can estimate it, but just because my body is human and it's not a machine, there is going to be some irregularity in there. And so scatter winding is a bit of a misnomer. Do you scatter wind your pickups? Well, yeah, because I use my hands. Like every pickup is scatter wound. Now, here's the thing that's a misnomer about it, especially, is now machines are all CNC controlled, and you can actually program your CNC machine to put some scatter in it. So, and it does sound better. What it does, just a brief thing on what scatter winding does, is it lowers the capacitance of the pickup. So anytime you put wires laying next to each other, for lack of a better word, they lose energy to each other. And so that can be measured in capacitance. And so the higher the capacitance of the pickup, the less clarity it's going to have because it's a capacitor. It has capacitance like a capacitor, so it loses clarity. That's probably the most accurate way to say that. The higher that number is. I like a real low capacitance situation because I like my pickups to be really, really well defined in all situations. And so the way we wind them affects that, and it really works. It really works well. Would it make sense to put a Filtertron in the neck and a DAF in the bridge? Um, I like the way. If you want some more clarity than what you have in your Les Paul, just get a set of DAFs. Full stop. El Nico 5 DAFs, put them in, and call me if you don't like it. I've never had a set come back. Because I know exactly what you're saying. You Les Paul neck pickups are muddy, and they, especially when you put some drive to them, they get a little like too much Santana-y sounding, like woman tone is like too extreme. These pickups won't do that. I mean, they'll do it when you want it to, but extra clarity, that is my middle name right there. When it comes to Dylan pickups, extra clarity is the thing. That is what I love. And then no matter how much gain you put on it, if you I don't care if you put a metal zone to it and you like slam an A chord, you're gonna hear every note through the whole chord. Like that's the thing that I focus on the most. So hey, thanks for hanging out with me. I know this was like a long, kind of boring video or whatever, but hopefully you learned something, picked up a point or two. And if you have any questions or anything, please let me know. Keep the comments going here. I'll check on it in a little bit. I'm going to solder this stuff up. I'm going to make these covers. I got to turn the wax on so we can wax pot it. And then I will share a picture on our Facebook or on our YouTube page in the feed, of the pickups when they're done with the new covers on it. So thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. You guys have been awesome.